Hi, this is Dileepa Wijay with FlowWright. Today I'm going to show you a bit around the workflow designer. We have a very graphical, very easy to use workflow design. So let's go ahead and open up one of our workflow definitions. You can either select one and click the design button, or you can also double click on any of the workflow definitions and it will open up in the designer also. Just like any design tool, you have a toolbox on the left hand side, and all the steps are categorized into different groups of steps. And today we provide over 90 plus steps with the product. And the cool thing with our product is you can build your own custom step and configure it and use it within this toolbox. And you can drag and drop. So on the top here, we have the toolbar with buttons that do specific things. And then in the middle, we have a design canvas. And on the right hand side, we have the properties window. By default, it will show statistics about the open workflow that's open. So on the toolbar, a couple of different things you can do. You can create an instance right from the designer based on this definition and execute it. You can define variables. You can define globals. The difference between variables and globals are variables will track the value for every executed iteration. So if you have a lot of variables, that could be a lot of data that we're tracking. With globals, the global will only track one single value for you. So you will never see any history about a global because the value gets overwritten. Next is managing business objects. You can define any number of business objects here and use them within the flow. And the next is validation. So you can validate your workflow definition. What that means is it will check for things like variables being used that are not defined, globals being used that are not defined, any required fields for any steps that are not provided, and also any custom validation that you can provide using our steps. Next, if you hit this, it will save the definition back to the server, and this will also automatically run some validation. After that is snapshot management, where you can take any number of snapshots. This is also good practice if you're modifying a large workflow definition to always take a snapshot. Then there's a couple of undo redo. So let me just drag a step from here and connect that step. And all these actions that I've performed so far, you can actually undo them. So I can undo the connection and undo the step. I can also redo those things. I can put the connect step back and the connection back. Next is delete. And so I'm going to go ahead and select this and say delete. And you can also select multiple items and do delete also. Next is inline comments. You can put any number of comments anywhere you like and fill the comment text. Next is definition comments. Here you can tell, if you were changing the workflow definition, some kind of like a check-in comment or a change comment. You can also perform search. So for example, if I search for amount, this will come back and show me what steps are using that. So the start step and the decision step has something that uses amount. And then last is the statistics that you've seen before. Under the UI tab here also, we have a bunch of other things, like you can get an index of steps. You can turn the grid on and off. You can also import globals and variables from other definitions. You can export this design as a PNG graphic, or you can also export as XML. Then these 4 steps here will also let you perform alignment. So if you want to, let's say, align these 2 steps, so let's go ahead and select them and say bottom align, and you can see now both of these are lined up based on their bottom edge. You can also zoom in and zoom out. Okay. these are some of the functionality that you can perform within the workflow designer. But there are also other things like keystrokes. So if you want to do things like Control A, you can select all the steps and all the connections, and you can move them around within the workflow definition. And you can also do things like copy and paste. So I'm going to go ahead and select these three items, and I'm going to say copy and then say paste. And as you can see, I have a pasted steps and connections and all that. Okay. I can also undo those things. So I can say, if I press Control S, that will save the definition. So these are some of the basics of using the workflow designer. If you want to look at more information, read the configuration manual. That will give you a lot more detailed info. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye bye.